going back to what we do as opposed to what others do. We go to a country, we move money in, we buy an asset, we redevelop it, we either own it or we sell it to somebody else. That really it's not strategic to anyone. Things don't move across borders other than just money. And it's not really relevant to anyone. And China has an enormous population that's building out and needs all the infrastructure that we can build and operate. So I do think it will continue to be very relevant to us longer term. I don't think I'd change the comment that I made years ago.
So you're just as happy to build a bridge for a dictator as a Democrat?
Look, we go to countries where there's 1.3 billion people, and we're helping those people out. It's amazing when you look at the people in China and what they're doing and how they're all becoming more successful and how they're moving into the economy of the world. And what I would say is, as we help those people move into the global economy, it's going to be better for everyone.
You are playing in the alternative space. You led in the alternative space, we could argue. But to your point, not just your own pools of capital, but competing pools of capital are ever larger for the same assets. How does that change your thinking? Is there a new alternative for you, or is there some other place to go now that it's become crowded?
Yeah, look, I'd say we happened upon one of the great businesses in the world. I think we can continue to use our competitive advantages to make our investment strategy different from most of that capital, because most people don't have the size, they don't have the global operations, they don't have the operating capabilities. The third one being maybe the most unreplicatable. When you have 150,000 people in your business, most people will never be able to have that. And so I think despite the amounts of money in the world looking for alternatives, which are becoming much more mainstream today, they almost shouldn't be called alternatives. But you know, that I would say that situation is you know, turning about.
When you look around the world, where are you? I've talked about India obviously as a destination for you, but when you think about asset classes, is there one that you favor? Is it real estate, infrastructure, renewables? Is there a place that you're actually particularly keen on?
You know, no. In fact, I would, you know, I'd say the success of our business has been we're highly diversified. We're in all these products. We've added credit recently, and by having those, if many people are bidding up infrastructure in a certain country, we just don't participate. We have 29 other countries we can go to. We have 3 other businesses, so we can ebb and flow our capital, and therefore we're not forced. The worst thing anyone can do is have too much money in one sector and need to put it to work. We don't need to put money to work in any one country or business. We can move it, you know, some funds are constrained as to certain businesses, but we can move it generally to other places. And I'd say that's one of the reasons our returns have been the way they've been over the last 25 years.
There is an abundant access of cheap capital, but we have seen, especially in the credit markets, fraying of quality and a fraying of covenants on both sides. There's kind of a willingness to just play a little loose. How do you keep your capital out of that game? How do you're going to pay more if you're not going to loosen up a bit? Yeah,
look, we take less money we have than others on most competitive assets, which may mean in the short term we'll earn a little less return. That's okay for us because in the fullness of time, it doesn't matter if you earn 2% less on an annualized return if you don't make big mistakes. So our view is we should use these capital markets that are open and freely available, but make sure that we're responsible about the borrowing. And we usually pay less cost on debt because we try to be a very responsible borrower in the capital markets. And as a result of that, we get that advantage, which possibly outweighs all the things I just said earlier. Is there a risk to you if there was some kind of big credit event in any part of the world? I mean, we're still watching Europe fairly carefully. You mentioned India, but it could happen in the US too.
We still see small numbers in the riskiest parts, but we do know that history repeats and that human behavior is what it is. If there were a blowout, is Brookfield safe?
Look, I'd say you should never say never, and that's why we maybe are still here after a long period of time, because we're always trying to prepare for the downturn. And I'd say we're probably better set up today than we've ever been. We have more access to capital than we've ever had. We added Oaktree credit franchise to our business because we think that this time through distress credit at some point in time will be highly attractive, and by adding Oaktree into it, it will give us another arrow in our quiver when the market turns down. And so that partnership we did with the Oaktree management is really, it's not for the good times. This was in preparation for times when the market turns. And we should all get prepared for that. Even though we're still investing, we're investing with caution, possibly, but that was preparing for the future, because the fact is, and I think they would freely admit this, if we never have another recession and credit never turns down, then we and they as partners probably won't do that well with the business we bought. We're quite confident at some point in time we will have another recession in the world.
And Oaktree obviously speaks for itself. It's well known and a strong brand. Could there be more like that to deepen that bench elsewhere?
Yeah, I don't know. We wanted to add liquid products to our stable to be able to offer to our clients, and we thought it was the right time to do it at this point in time. This is a partnership. They're running the business. It's possible something like that comes along. We're not out trying to add other businesses like that to the company. It's possible something comes along, but this was, look, we felt they were the best distressed credit investor in the world, and we were thrilled to partner with.